Can't we just get along?
No, Kev. No, we can't just get along.
I'm tired of being humble. I'm tired of letting people think they got a chance. The tribal chief is head and shoulders above everybody.
Hey guys, we're here at the locker room. This is Toss Reign Scandal. We'll talk about what caused the tension between Triple H and Shawn Michaels, why Triple H and Shawn Michaels had a real rivalry. You guys get the lights in the locker room. We about to air some dirty laundry on this one. We are talking about Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Guys that are longtime friends, been friends for over 30 years. But I know they know of having great rivalries at SummerSlam. You know, they had a great rivalry there with the unsanctioned match. We are known for also seeing rivalries as well. You know, they had the Armageddon 2002 match. You know, 2 out of 3 falls for the World Heavyweight Championship. You know, that was a great rivalry in a match. And we also know for having great matches at the Royal Rumble 2004, Last Man Standing. And they had also another match with the classic 2004 Hell in a Cell match. So Shawn Michaels, Triple H had undeniably great chemistry in the ring. But outside of the ring, not so much. We know that these two are real life friends, but at one point in time, these two had a real rivalry. And it was due to Shawn Michaels, his past when he was, you know, he was under the influence a lot, you know, taking, you know, a lot of stuff he shouldn't have been taking. You know, pretty much anything, and it caused his behavior to go left a lot. And we're talking about, you know, back in the early 90s, who don't know about Shawn Michaels, he was a locker room issue, especially the biggest problem in WWE. A lot of men to this day, the legends, they have podcasts, interviews to talk about how bad Shawn Michaels ruined their push and how in the fight, you know, then we had the Montreal screw job and, of course, many others. But we're talking about Triple H and Shawn Michaels now. At one point in the documentary, it was talked about how Shawn Michaels, he was retired after his first retirement in 1998. Now, at this point, Triple H was coming up. He was the main event WWE champion. But they're talking about at one point is 2001. And this is around the time when WCW was purchased by WWE. Shawn Michaels was in there. You know, I heard reportedly he was still on a payroll at that time despite being retired. That's allegedly $750,000. You know, that's what I've heard. But anyway, he was there and he was under the influence real bad. It got so bad when Vince McMahon saw that he was under influence, he couldn't stand up. He couldn't move hardly, from what I've heard. And he was asked to go home. Him and Triple H, you know, they got into a shouting back and forth. They didn't speak for years. But I remember years later when Shawn Michaels did come back after he cleaned himself up and got sober, that's when that rivalry started back in late 2002, 2003. But if you guys remember, they had a segment with Kevin Nash and how they played that into the storyline. Hindsight 2020, who would have known that these two had a real life feud?
It ain't never gonna be over between me and Shawn Michaels.
Uh-oh.
All right, we aren't gonna bury the hatchet. We're not gonna be friends again. I can't stand him. Shawn Michaels could walk down to this ring, get on his knees, bend over, pucker up, and kiss me on the ass, and it ain't gonna make a bit of difference.
Oh my gosh.
I know you don't like it. I would just as soon slap Shawn in the face as shake his hand. Kev, you...
Shawn Michaels! You want to slap me in the face? Come on! I got news for you, Kevin. Everything he's saying is right. We are never gonna bury the hatchet. He's a lying, manipulative piece of trash, and everybody in this business knows it, and I know it. And
you're so full of crap. I tell you what.
Stop it! Whoa. Stop it! I've had it! I didn't come back for this! Wow. Can't we just get along?
No, Kev. No, we can't just get along. See, that's it. Now listen, I understand this is a tough spot for you, man. I understand that, but this is the way the cards have been dealt. So now you gotta deal with them. You've gotta make a choice. It's either him or me.
Now, that was a segment on Raw back in 2003. This is when Kevin Nash was not a part of NWO no more. He had the quad injury. He had just returned after 9 months of being injured. And this is when he saw Shawn Michaels and Triple H had a rivalry. He tried to get in between it, tried to get these guys to make up, but it didn't work. That led to a rivalry between Kevin Nash and Triple H. However, it was so much realism in that storyline. Now, I know Shawn Michaels and Triple H, of course, they were friends, but with that animosity, the anger, and that these guys hadn't put on great matches, that's kind of see why that worked out so well. These guys at one point were really upset with each other, and it was due to Shawn Michaels lashing out Triple H. Triple H, was not going for it, and they didn't speak for years. Now, like I said, at that point, him and Shawn Michaels were starting to become on good terms again. But I like how they played the real life rivalry. They just made it into a storyline rivalry. Something Vince McMahon's known for doing, WWE. For those who follow Vince McMahon, WWE back in the early days, they know that. But it worked out well, both favors. It helped. Triple H helped Shawn Michaels. But Shawn Michaels, ever since he cleaned himself up from not being under influence and using all the stuff that he should have been using, he was very gracious for not just his family, his wife. He was very gracious of his friends, most importantly, Triple H. Because Triple H did not have to stick out his neck for Shawn Michaels. I know at one point in the 90s, Triple H, I know he was coming up. He wasn't a name, but he still stuck around Shawn Michaels even when Shawn Michaels was at his worst. And I believe to this day, a lot of people that follow ruthless aggression and maybe also Attitude Era, they have a strong dislike for Triple H. And we say because of Vince McMahon, that is in one aspect. But another reason they didn't like Triple H, because he was always linked to Shawn Michaels. Now, this is Shawn Michaels in the 90s, the Heartbreak Kid, the WWE champion who did his thing. But I know they talk more about this in the A&E documentary biography of Shawn Michaels, of how this whole thing really did start in real life.
I don't remember why Shawn was there. There must have been doing something in the show. We all go, me, Taker, Rock. Vince is in the ring. Now I own WCW. Shawn is messed up, pilled up. So this is a celebratory moment. He's belligerent, loud, falling down, staggering. Vince calls him in, tells him, go home, done with you. Shawn goes ballistic. Walks by me in the hallway, just goes off.
I went and browbeat Hunter unfairly, obviously.
And I just went off back, just in his face, screaming match back and forth, and he storms out.
Now that's another one that made me cry. I went and said some mean stuff to him and walked out. And, that sucks as well. And I don't talk to him for a long time. We didn't speak, I don't know. I mean, I would think at least a year, 2 years. That was, what do they call it, the rock bottom. So.
I just called him up out of the clear blue. I just asked him when the last time he talked to Paul. And he just avoided that situation. I just said, man, you're wrong. You got to call him.
I called Hunter and let him know how sorry I was and how out of line I was. But I said, I hope you can forgive me. I needed that from Hunter.
For me, it was easy. As long as it wasn't drugs talking to me.
It's good to see you.
Group hug.
Of course, I do regret the pain that it caused people in my life. There is a part of that I don't think that Michael Shawn Hickenbottom can get to where he got creatively without a little bit of that reckless, risky mindset. I wouldn't have had the guts to do it.
So it seems like Triple H and Shawn Michaels, after that heated rivalry, Kevin Nash stepped in just like in that promo, and he told Shawn Michaels he was wrong for behaving that way towards Triple H. And he should apologize to Triple H. And Shawn Michaels thought about it, and he talked to Triple H saying, can you forgive me? Triple H said, yeah. And of course, they've been back on good terms ever since then. Of course, Shawn Michaels came back in 2002, started his second stint with WWE, had a great rivalry with Triple H, and then he would later retire and get inducted to the Hall of Fame also by Triple H. And Triple H, of course, finished his career, and he retired. And Triple H also just recently got inducted into the 2025 Hall of Fame. He will be inducted this year and leading the class. Congratulations to Triple H on that. But these two here, they definitely are on good terms, and it's good to see them both on good terms now, because it's good that they're working together. They always had great ideas when they was telling stories in the ring. But Triple H, Shawn Michaels, I know that Shawn Michaels faced a lot of demons back in the day, and it could have been worse. It seemed like he got to the point, like, I knew he was doing a lot of stuff back in the day, but I didn't think it got to the extent where it could be that worse, and it was. I believe that if it had got much worse, Shawn Michaels could have lost his life. He could have lost everything if he had not cleaned himself up. So that's good that he did that. I know he he wears the cross. I know he regularly goes to, Bible study and everything. He's really involved in the church now these days, him and his family. I know he definitely is a better man than he was back in the 90s. Now, like I said, still have some people say they don't like Shawn Michaels, but bad for the backstage politics of how he acted. But he's not the same guy he was 30 years ago. So I'm glad he's changed for the better. Triple H, of course, accepted him back in his life. And now these guys are doing better than ever. They're definitely taking WWE by storm, being involved in creative backstage. I mean, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, they really are the DX of the whole industry. I mean, we see what these men are doing today as far as creative and process. We have Shawn Michaels. He is the Senior Vice President of Talent Development and Creative, and this is of the NXT brand. And we know as today the Black and Silver NXT. Now, Triple H, who previously ran NXT for the original Black and Gold, started the foundation from the beginning. He did that for years, and we know he had a health scare back in 2021. But now, since he came back from his health improving, getting better, he is now the Chief Content Officer of WWE, the head of creative and everything. Everything runs through him. That is a big job. And I heard Triple H, now I know he's the head of creative, but he's still involved with NXT as well. If you look at the credits of NXT, it still says for executive producer, you will see his name, Paul Levesque, there. So he's still involved with that. And these two, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, they are a dynamic duo that just cannot be stopped. They're pretty much doing their thing, and they're putting on great product. The fans are happy. The talent is happy. The executives are happy. And those two are happy. We see it every time they work. Triple H is guiding Shawn Michaels, putting in the right direction. Shawn Michaels is picking up. He's doing what he got to do as far as creative goes. And they just put out magic every time they have a great show. They always put out great magic. These men are now executives of the industry. Who would have thought that, D-Generation X? But other than that, that's all I have for Shawn Michaels, Triple H, of what caused the tension between Triple H and Shawn Michaels. You guys let me know if you knew about this real-life rivalry. Soon 2 videos will pop up, guys. You guys click the links below. Until then, it is OUT.